As we get started, Sister Annalise, Sister Juunza, I'd like everyone to just take a moment of silence and reflect inwardly, pay some attention to how you got to this place at this point in time. And I think all of us will realize that though it took a total team effort for African Diaspora Network to be a reality, it was Alma's vision. And I remember a number of years ago when she sat in my office at Miller Center for Social Entrepreneurship, and she said, I'm doing all of these amazing things, Step Up Silicon Valley, African Diaspora Network, you name it. And I said, what brings you the most joy? And Alma said, it's the African Diaspora Network. And I said, then do that. And here we are today. So we are having a fireside chat, but fires are not really that great. If you live in California, I live in Sonoma County, so I'm grateful there is not one here for us. We're going to introduce ourselves first, and then we're going to tell the story of how we got here and where we're going together with this incredible community that Alma's has really led. I'm Thane Kreiner. I'm Executive Director of Miller Center for Social Entrepreneurship at Santa Clara University, which is a Jesuit university. And the Jesuits are great, but I got to tell you up front, the sisters totally rock. So what we do at Miller Center is accelerate social entrepreneurs that are serving the poor and protecting the planet. We've been doing it since 2003 based on the observation that a lot of innovations meant to address at the time the Millennium Development Goals were not getting to significant scale relative to the size of the problems afflicting the global poor. So we asked whether Silicon Valley executives, like many of you, could accompany entrepreneurs through a structured curriculum to help them discern pathways to scaling their impact. Since then, we have walked with more than 1,000 social entrepreneurs in 100 countries around the world. They collectively have raised $500 million after our accelerator programs. That's $500 million. And they have improved, transformed, or saved the lives of 400 million people living in poverty. So when we talk about climate change, we all know it impacts the poor more than anybody else, and our call is to serve the poor and protect the planet. Sister Annalise?
Good evening. I'm Sister Eneless Chimbali. I come from Malawi, but currently I've been working with the Association of Consecrated Women in Eastern and Central Africa, ACWECA, that comprises of 10 countries: Eritrea, Ethiopia, Sudan, South Sudan, Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, Malawi, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. And we serve more than 30,000 sisters from 300 congregations, which will provide capacity building in areas need, one of them being social entrepreneurship that we're working with Miller Center of Santa Clara University.
Thank you. Sister Juunza.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sister Juunza Mwangani from Zambia, from the Diocese of Monze. It's based in the southern province of Zambia. And my congregation is called Religious Sisters of the Holy Spirit. We serve in that country and the diocese I just mentioned. Our charism is to work with the young people, the women and children in rural areas. And we discern their needs with the help of the Holy Spirit, and we have to share and witness to the power of the Holy Spirit wherever we are. So in short, that's what I am.
Thank you, Sister Juunza. So I want to tell the story of how I ended up on the stage in this very special place with two incredible sisters leading amazing congregations that are changing the world. It happened in 2018 in July. I was at the Vatican Impact Investing Conference. How many of you knew that the Vatican had an Impact Investing Conference? I know Sister Jane did because she was also there. And I was invited there because of a program Miller Center launched to accompany social enterprises serving or led by refugees, migrants, or human trafficking survivors. And if you're wondering, yes, that was a political statement. But I got invited to talk about how we were working with those very special entrepreneurs that were serving the most marginalized among our common human family. And while I was there was a panel that Sister Annalise was on. And she was talking about the problems of poverty and conflict and violence that lead to especially violence against women, children not being able to go to school. And during the question and answer session, somebody said, well, what happens if the violence gets worse? And Sister Annalise said, the sisters will always be there. Now, somebody in the audience wasn't paying attention. It might be you right now. And someone else a few minutes later said essentially the same thing. Well, sister, if the violence gets really bad, what are the sisters going to do? And Sister Annalise leaned forward and she said, let me repeat myself. The sisters will always be there. So I said, I have to meet this woman. And when she got off the stage, I ran up to her and I said, Sister Annalise, I'm Thane Kreiner from Miller Center, and now Sister Annalise gets to tell her story.
Yeah, if you can go to Africa, there are so many NGOs that are concentrated in urban areas, and we find sisters in the remotest areas, sometimes where there are no proper roads, but sisters, they go in those areas because there are people there who want services. When I was talking to Mina Center, what accompanied me most is the concept of Mina Center and also the accompaniment that they provide as they work with their social enterprise. And also for me, I was like, when we work with the sisters and the sisters, they learn social entrepreneurship and think they can be so good social entrepreneurs. And also the sisters, wherever they are trusted people, that the people they see, these are the people that they can work with, these are the people that can be trusted. NGOs come and go, but the sisters, they always remain. And the sisters, they remain without resources, they remain with the people. I can give an example like countries in Eritrea, Ethiopia, Sudan, and South Sudan, where the sisters are leaving the people, even some reach that point of moving together with the refugees to wherever they are so that they can be able to provide services. And for me, I believe to say if the sisters can learn social entrepreneurship and they'll be able to serve the community better so that the people they can be economically empowered and also the sisters can be economically empowered. Therefore, by the end of the day, it will be a win-win situation and the people will benefit more with the presence of the sisters. And with the concept of Mina Center, for me, in ACWECA, we are very happy to work with Mina Center. At Mina Center, they're working to work with us, and they're ready to move to wherever the sisters are. As I'm talking, there are some people from Mina Center who are with us, with the sisters in Africa, working to provide knowledge and accompaniment that they want. And also the other thing is, there's too much knowledge that has been passing on around the sisters. But the sisters, they lack the hands-on accompaniment and the hands-on activities. So Mina Center is ready to provide that. So we as ACWECA, by working with Mina Center, we found is a true partner who can be with us and be able to walk in our shoes and to see the progress that can happen in the continent wherever the sisters are.
Thank you, Sister Annalise. So together we came up with this idea, we're calling it the Sisters Blended Value Project. And the idea is that the social ministries of the sisters can become more financially sustainable as they adopt entrepreneurial principles that deliver goods and services to the communities they serve while remaining true to the charism of their congregations. And so we launched this project with a small gift from the General Council of Santa Clara University, and we held a workshop in Nairobi last March. Sister Juunza, can you tell us how you heard about the workshop and what excited you about participating in entrepreneurial training with some crazy white guy like me?
All right. This workshop was announced to the congregational leaders. They talked about the Sisters Blended Value Project after these people had come up with the idea and had shared the concept. So my Superior General was one of those that were at that meeting where the concept was shared. And she came back home and just said, there's this project that ACWECA is going to be running, and it's about sisters learning business strategies and using them in our ministries to improve them and make them social enterprises that will sustain both the sisters and the communities that we are serving. I was excited about it. And when she mentioned, I said, I want to be part of those people that are doing that. Then when I came to the workshop in March and we were told what really excited you about this? For me, it was the idea of the sisters not just giving a service, but at least bringing in business concepts that was going to break like the problem that I've had as a person, thinking, if I go business, will I still be religious? But then I knew in myself that there were better concepts that were going to improve the ministries that the sisters are doing if we did this, if we went the social entrepreneurial way. So that's what I got to know about it, and I joined and it helped. I'm going to share more on what I learned.
Thank you, Sister Juunza. So based on the response of the sisters who participated in that 3-day workshop with Miller Center staff and some of our mentors, we imagined how this project could really expand. And one of the things that we found and that really surprised us is that some of the social enterprises that had been through our accelerator programs saw the sisters, as Sister Jane recently explained, as a trusted community member. And as many of you know, in the developing world, and particularly in Africa, the way that people make decisions is based on references from people they trust. And who do you trust more than the sisters? So we had social enterprises knocking on our doors saying, we want to partner with the sisters to expand into these communities with things like sustainable agriculture training, solar-powered water pumps, safe drinking water, all the things that communities need to be healthy and happy schools. So we put together this program, and we're very, very grateful that Hilton Foundation, Sister Jane and Angelique, decided to give us a grant to support this project for the next 18 months. And what we're doing is working with the sisters, accompanying them. As Sister Annalise said, one of our colleagues, Brother Keith, is currently in Uganda doing a workshop with the sisters, and they're preparing business plans for their social enterprises within their congregations. So transforming things that formerly relied completely on charity into earned income models that support the enterprise and can have greater impact. So can you tell us, Sister Juunza, a little bit about, she's an overachiever, the 2 business plans that you're writing?
Yes, having been trained by the Miller Center, we are now, as Sisters of the Holy Spirit, in the process of building up, setting up a school. Now everyone will wonder, why is Sister talking about education as if it's just beginning now? Yes, it's the same education that we've been doing in the past, but this time we want to do it differently. We've been educating people, but mostly preparing them for a white-collar job, such that after secondary education, we are not sure whether they'll go to college, they'll proceed or not. But then we've had these people that have received high-quality education, but if they are not able to progress to tertiary education, they are roaming the streets. Is that what we want to continue? No. So with the social enterprise skills that we have learned, we are going to set up a school that gives hands-on training to the young people. And we are setting up a school that has a production unit, and we are calling it the Emerging Farmers Initiative. Now, this is how it's going to work. This school is going to run a production unit that has a piggery, a poultry, a garden, a fish farm, and a maize field. We want each pupil to be involved in this so that they learn either to be a poultry farmer or a piggery farmer or a fish farmer, whatever they can do. Now, this production unit is going to be ecologically sensitive in the sense that we are not going to use any artificial fertilizers. It's going to work and interrelate in such a way that each unit is going to be pumping into the other. For example, we're going to grow maize, and after that, we're going to process it to make feeds for the pigs, for the chickens, and for the fish. The water that we are going to drain from the fish pond will run into the garden, and it's going to water and fertilize the garden at the same time. So the waste from the pigs and from the chickens will go into the maize field and the garden, so we're not going to buy any fertilizers. And then we are going to buy even the incubators so that we hatch the eggs ourselves and look after the chicks until they grow to something that you can sell. Now, what are we doing to this pupil? All this will be done by the learners themselves. So a learner will decide whether they are going to just run a hatchery where they are going to be hatching their own chicks and selling to other farmers, or they are going to produce feeds. They know that when I grow the feeds, when I grow the maize, I can process into something that I'm going to sell to other farmers. We realize that our school is going to have two types of pupils, those that come from well-off families and those that cannot afford, because it's set up in the rural area where we've been invited to serve. So the business model is that the school is going to rely on school fees as well as the money that we are getting from this social enterprise, the farmers, the production unit. Now, the money that we are going to raise, the proceeds from this production unit, is going to pump into the bursary account so that the pupils that cannot allow their school fees are going to get the money to get a bursary to pay their school fees from whatever proceeds we are going to get from this. What are we doing to this child? They are going to know that there isn't a donor somewhere who's going to bring the money for me. We are going to make the money ourselves, and we are going to get ourselves through school using the money that we have made. We have done this. We grew the products, we processed, we sold, we have the money, we've paid the school fees, and we've gone through school. We are changing the mentality because this is going to break the cycle of poverty in Africa. Now, this child who has been with the entrepreneurship within the school can replicate that in their own community. We are going to see a tree growing. We are going to see a vegetable garden. We are going to see that even if they don't go through tertiary school and they don't find a white-collar job, they'll still do any of the three things that they'll have learned in our school. So that's what it's going to do, and we're inviting everyone.
That's amazing, Sister Juunza. That is incredible. And I note the resonance for those of you who heard the Minister of Technology from Kenya earlier, talking about how we get young people to stay in their communities and farm. And when we have these circular models of production and consumption, SDG 12, they can work. And here we are being led by the sisters. So Sister Annalise, can you tell us a little bit about your vision for how this model of the blended Sisters Blended Value Project will expand? You mentioned earlier there's 30,000 sisters in the congregations supported by ACWECA.
You have to imagine if we have every sister, like Sister Juunza, in every community and developing that kind of concept and what kind of transformation we can make in Africa. And we are talking that in ACWECA region, we have more than 300 congregations, and our focus is to ensure that these particular congregations, they have the resources to sustain their charism. Each congregation has been founded, it has a specific goal for them to achieve. And that goal is not only for themselves, but also for the people that they serve. And you have to imagine also to say like, if they're able to do this, they'll be able to empower thousands and millions of people wherever these sisters are. And also in this particular project, what we're trying to do also is to ensure that the visibility of the sisters is seen wherever they are. As I mentioned to say, most of the sisters are in the remotest places where most of the NGOs are not. And also the sisters, they serve the poorest in the communities. And also to ensure that the sisters have got resources to sustain their ministries wherever they are. As Sister Juunza has mentioned to say, they'll be able to make money for their own school, and they'll be able to provide bursaries to the students. And this is what we are looking for almost every congregation which are in our region, to be able to do that. And at the end of the day, to be able also to sustain religious life itself, so that by the end of the day, the sisters are available and they'll be ready to save the people that we have been entrusted for.
Thank you so much. So we talk a lot in Silicon Valley about the power of technology, but I think you've just witnessed the power of people to effect transformative change. What Pope Francis talks about as authentic human development, where people are agents and architects of their own futures. We have a unique opportunity to partner with the sisters and make the global sustainable development goals a reality. Thank you so much, Sister Annalise, Sister Juunza, and all of you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you.